Not sure why it's not. That's weird. I've never done that. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a table of values. You've seen that before. We've also called it an XY chart. Okay, and so what we do real quickly is you have an equation. 2x plus 2y equals 12. And today you're going to actually be given some values of x, and you have to find your y values. So we're going to work on substituting and solving, a little bit of BEDMAS, and work on solving, which we did a couple units ago. So copy down this table here. We have x values given to us. We have -5, 2, and -8. So we have to find the appropriate y value for x. So we're going to start by substituting in. Instead of 2 times x, it becomes 2 times -5. Really important to use brackets here, especially when you get to the harder algebra questions in grade 10. Okay, so always use brackets when you substitute in. An extremely good habit. Okay, you want to use brackets. It's so important, Mr. Barker's even writing it down. Use brackets. Good. Then we go and solve for y. So 2 times -5 is -10, plus 2y equals 12. Solve for y. Go for it. Oops. Done here is you saw -10, so we add 10 to both sides. Just going to show lots of work. And we get 2y equals 22. Then we divide by 2 both sides to keep it equal. And we get y equals 11. So that is our answer for y, 11. But that's only occurring when x is -5. So x value changes. What do we have to do now? Substitute and solve. So now it's going to be 2 times x, but x has changed. So we just do some quick little equation solving and solve for y. Go. So 4 plus 2y equals 12. And instead of plussing 4, we minus the 4. Always look in front to decide whether you should add or subtract. And when do you do your division? Always the last step. Okay, so don't start dividing early because that's completely wrong. Don't do that to the last step. Okay, find the -8 one if you haven't already. Okay, most of you are on that, I see. Okay, so here y equals 4, 14. Okay, now you can graph that. So what we're going to do is just quickly graph that right here. Actually, I'm going to need a bit of space. I'll show you how to create your diagram. So even though you don't have graphing paper, you don't always need graphing paper. So what we can do is use our lines to help us. So go for a grid, make tick marks in between the line and on the line like I am doing. And go down as well. Okay. Is it going to be a super accurate graph? No. But is it going to be very, very close? Absolutely. Left to right's a little more tricky. Okay, you're going to try and keep the same scale, but it's easier left than right than going up or down. Okay. So once you've done that, graph your points. You do have to go up to 14, so make sure you have that properly done. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, now my last one is up top. So for my line, so that's approximately what your line will be. Okay, now of course it's not super accurate, so your points might have to kind of fake it a little bit and smudge them over so they're on your line. If they're way off, you did math wrong. Okay. Any questions? All right. Okay, so that's graphing, finding points when you give an equation. Now, we had here specific values, but if you don't have specific values, you want to choose easy points. So please write this chart down, choose some easy points. Those are some easy points to use. Okay, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Now, if you only want to do a quick little one, you can do 0, 1, 2. But higher level graphing, like grade 11 and 12, then you want to do a full positives and negatives. Okay, so you can get an idea of what the graph line should look like. Because, of course, you have U's and C's and all this other stuff. Okay. Any questions? Okay, just finish copying that chart down to know to use those points. So that's the first part of what you're going to do on one of the worksheets. This is you're going to find out some table of values and then you're going to plot your graphs. Next part, draw a little line, changing equations. Okay, this is a really great thing for math. You do this a lot in grade 10 math and science, grade 11 physics. This is all it is changing equations. So what you want to do is you want to change equations into y equals. You change it into y equals. So we're going to start, number 1, with the equation 3x plus 6y equals 12. And we're going to have to rearrange it so that we have y equals. Okay. Now this is a big concept jump for some of you. So the first thing what we want to do is you want to get the y term, the 6y, by itself, because then we can divide by 6. So how are you going to get rid of a plus 3x? Remember, there's a plus sign in front. So what will we do to get rid of a plus 3x? Minus 3x both sides. Okay. So you want to write that down, minus 3x. Now on the left side, those are gone then. But on the right side, it stays there. And what we want to do is write it at the beginning. So 6y equals negative 3x plus 12. You always want to change it, in fact, to this form, y equals mx plus b. So these here are simply numbers, but the x value isn't. In grade 10, we do tons of graphing. It's called slope-intercept form. Anytime I see that form, I can graph any line instantaneously. But we don't need to worry about that right now. Okay. So now you know what 6 y's are. How do we divide to 1 y? Divide by 6. Okay. Now what we're technically doing is we're technically dividing the entire side by 6. Okay. So the right side is a long division line, and to recall from our previous unit, that means each one is divided by 6. Okay. So what we're going to get is 2 separate divisions on the right side, because we can write it that way. So we're left with y equals negative 3 over 6 reduces, and 12 over 6 reduces. Got to really watch your negative signs when you do this stuff. So it's negative 1/2 times x plus 2. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Okay, this is a little bit new for you. You guys haven't done stuff like this. You've done all the skills, but that's more for solving one letter. All right. Okay. I want you to try, write down example 2 and example 3. Leave, you might want to do it on the next page if you're on the bottom, because you need some space for this. Okay, so you minus 10x, both sides. Okay, and so you're left with 4y equals negative 10x plus 2. And how do we get rid of the 4? Divide. Okay. So divide them by 4. Remember, you're really technically dividing this entire side by 4. That's really what you're doing, but you need to treat it as 2 separate divisions. Okay. And so your final answer, y equals negative 5 over 2x plus 1/2. Hands up if you got that. Awesome. Okay. This next one now, number 3, try it all by yourself. Okay, I'm not going to help you at all. I'm just going to go around, answer some questions. This is a tricky one that a lot of kids have trouble with. It's a standard one that we're going to ask. Here is a plus 10, so always look in front to decide to subtract 10x. Okay? And so, yes, you're left with this negative y. I'm glad you caught that. It's really important. Okay, so you have a negative y. That equals negative 10x. You must have the x term first. Plus 20. Okay. And then, this is negative 1 times y. So what we're doing is dividing by negative 1. Now, we're dividing the whole side by negative 1. And so you must do individual divisions, negative 1, negative 1. And so our final answer, we have to have positive y, equals positive 10x minus 20. Hands up if you got that. Okay, good. That's a real tricky one that people often get caught up in. Any questions?